Today I don't feel like doing anything.
Oh god, no. Fail. Oh my god. I was like, I'm not gonna burp again like in the beginning, but just kidding. My body's like, oh, we started? Okay, ready? Time to exert all the gas out of my body. Hello, Cinema Peeps.
Hello, Cinema Peeps.
Happy Tuesday. Okay, so I realized that Batwoman didn't air a new episode yesterday.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, thank Christ. So I'm only 2 behind now, because I did go on the elliptical the other day and watched the Fair Skin and Blue Eyes episode, and I was very scarred. I was like, I will never eat jelly beans ever again.
Oh, I think I'm an episode behind. I don't think I've watched the last one.
Okay, so we're on even playing field almost. It's hard, because, like, it's nice to be like, oh, I'm going to do this while I'm on the elliptical or on the treadmill. Mm-hmm. But then if you don't have motivation to do any of those things, then you start getting behind, and then you're like, well, no point anymore.
Yeah.
I almost was just going to binge and just catch up on those episodes, but when I realized they didn't air last night, or 2 nights ago, sorry, I was like, okay, I'm only 3 behind. I can do this. I can do this. I could maybe do this. What was my thought? I did watch The Flash, and I did watch episode 2 of Superman and Lois. So ooh. I did a lot of TV this weekend.
Yes. Last week was definitely a big one for the premiere of Flash. Mm-hmm. What did you think of it?
I mean, I thought it was good. I was very sorry, everyone. Spoilers up ahead. It's very sad that Wells is sacrificed.
Rest in peace, Wells. And they brought back HR for a few minutes, and my heart. Oh,
I'm just very because I mean, to be fair, like ever since season 1 or 2, like they always kept bringing back another version of Wells, and then he'd disappear. So after a while, I was like, this man is just gonna be in this series forever. Like they say he's gone, but he's going to be there.
Yeah.
And even though they're making it seem like he's not coming back, I'm like, oh, he's gonna find a way.
As far as I've read, he's still involved, since I don't know if it's just behind the scenes or if they're going to have him in flashbacks or what the deal is, but
yeah.
I mean, at this point, Barry could run back in time and he'll be alive again. That's probably what's going to happen, let's be honest.
Right? That's how I'm thinking. So, I think maybe some of the emotion was taken away, because I'm like, nah, he's fine, he's coming back, don't you guys worry. Don't you worry your pretty little heads. Everyone's crying in a little circle. I'm like, don't you worry about it. He'd be back. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. I did like the reveal at the end of Eva being the mirror version of herself. I was like, ooh, burn.
Yep.
Burn.
I'm curious to know though, because this episode felt very much like it would have been the season finale of last. Because I know they didn't get the chance to actually finish, wrap up their season before the pandemic happened. So I'm not sure if this was technically, because I know they had to move some things around too to kind of make the story make sense, but this premiere episode definitely felt like it could have been the finale of last season,
or definitely at least parts of it. I can see that as well, because it does feel very weird that we're starting off that Wells is already sacrificing himself and he's dead. I could see that being second to last episode or something, or third to last or something.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty jarring for a premiere episode, because you after being away from it for a year and then jumping right into it, you're like, oh my god, I'm not prepared.
I just thought we were all gonna come back and it'll be sunshine and rainbows. What's happening? Oh yeah, then I watched Superman and Lois. Did you watch the second episode?
I did.
What did you think of it?
It was very slow. I keep waiting to find out what's going on, and I feel like they're really taking their time in setting up what's going on. And I think the thing that's really also kind of keeping me a little frustrated, I guess, is the fact that they haven't quite explained where this ties into the Arrowverse. Or if they're going to keep it tied into the Arrowverse, because I know technically it happens years after the last crisis and stuff like that, but still, this particular version of Superman and Lois is a part of the Arrowverse, and so it'd be nice to know, like, if we're gonna be seeing glimpses of, like, Supergirl or anybody else, like, if there's gonna be cameos of them at some point, or, like, you know, just kind of knowing where the storyline connects. Yeah, I don't know. I found it very slow, so I'm curious to see where the story's gonna go, but hopefully it doesn't take too much longer to kind of get there.
Yeah. Slow is a good word for this episode. Very slow. I think also especially because Lex Luthor supposedly came from another planet with another Superman.
True, yes.
So to be like, there's only one Earth, it's like, okay. And I can't remember, I was Googling something, and there was, like, articles popping up talking about how they're like, how Superman and Lois doesn't need to connect to the Arrowverse, they can be better. And I'm like, home skillets. Home skillets. Okay, I get it. Like, there's, like, always a certain, you know, connotation with, like, being part of the Arrowverse shows or whatever. But, like, that's where you fucking started, so don't you fucking forget.
Right? And I remember listening to an interview, too, of, like, Stephen Amell was on a podcast, and they were saying, like, they commented on the fact that they're changing, or they're thinking of changing it, or they've started, I don't know. Yeah. Basically, they're trying to change it from Arrowverse to the CW-verse. Yeah. And he's like, I don't really care, but why? It's the Arrowverse, you know, it started with Arrow, we've got all, like, unless they're just wanting to keep the top three, or the top four, like, Legends, Arrow, Flash, and Supergirl, that's considered the Arrowverse, and then all these other ones expanding beyond are kind of its own, like, next level of this. But yeah, he was just like, why do we have to change everything? Why does it need to be its own thing, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I get on some level, because then it might be easier, especially if they continue to say do shows years past. It might be weird calling it the Arrowverse if someone's never seen Arrow. Right. Granted, though, I think it's maybe a little too late. Yeah. Like, I think changing it is kind of stupid and pointless, but yeah, you know, whatever. I'm kind of in that same boat where it's like, I don't care, but on the same level, it's like, why bother doing? So I guess I do care on some degree. Right. It's a tired care, you know? It's like, I'm exhausted. Why are we doing this? Right. And I mean, too, like, if Superman and Lois, like I said, I'm giving it a shot, but if Superman and Lois does end up not being tied to the Arrowverse that we know of right now as it exists, I probably might not continue watching it. Ooh. Just because, yeah, like, right now I'm just trying, like, because of, you know, those two characters and the actors playing them, because of their connection with everything in there, that's kind of what invested me and interested me in wanting to continue watching this as well. So I guess if the CW does end up doing, like, other shows beyond, but there's not going to be any other ties to, you know, all the other shows, I don't know. I might not watch them, so. Burn. Well, because I think they're even talking with, again, I haven't finished Stargirl, as we just discussed. Yeah. Because, again, the problem is when you want to watch it on the elliptical and don't do the elliptical, you fall behind, okay? That's the moral of the story. But I know they were talking about how they seemed to have interest that they were going to connect it in, but they weren't keen on just yet, which I think is fine. But then I think if you're going to do that, it has to be obviously an interesting show. So like you said, if the pace of this is going to be very, at least with Superman and Lois, it's going to be so slow. It's like, and again, I think one of the big reasons I stopped watching Supergirl is I was, like, dragging my feet. Like, I just did not enjoy watching it. And it was just, like, it wasn't, like, something like another show where I'm like, oh, a new episode's out this week. Yes, I'm so pumped. I was like, I have to catch up. I have to watch this episode. So, again, if Superman and Lois becomes that point where I'm dragging my feet, it's like, you know, like watching shit should be enjoyable, not, like, homework. No, yeah, it's totally true. Oh, gosh. What was my other thought? Oh, yeah. So as I told Kendra before we started, I watched Mulan, the live-action film. Have you watched it? I'm not sure. Have you watched it yet? I really don't have much of an interest or a need to watch it. Yeah. It's pretty to look at. I'll give it that. It's very pretty to look at. Yeah. Other than that, it's just, like, meh. Yeah. And again, it's hard because they obviously, I know they were talking about how they wanted to stay more true to, like, the story Mulan's based on, not the live action cartoon. Isn't it based off of a William Shakespeare play? Maybe. That's what I remember reading. It was based off The Twelfth Night. Oh.
She's the man.
Well, I definitely know that Mulan is a story in I think it's Chinese folklore or something.
Oh, okay.
So she is so it's possible that that was taken and Shakespeare used that as inspiration, and yada yada yada. True. It's very, very possible. But what was my thought? I mean, yeah, it looked very pretty. I liked the music because they would basically remix the songs from the cartoon movie into the live action movie, which I thought was very cool. Thought it paid really nice homage. But I mean, I think it's hard because there's so many iconic scenes from Mulan, and they cut a lot of those out, I think, so that they could stand on their own 2 feet. But then I think it just made it really bland. But what else? I guess I did enjoy her kind of they didn't have the other main 3 guys that were in the cartoon film. That were her friends. But they basically made substitute other men for those roles, basically.
Oh, okay.
But I enjoyed her interaction with all of them. Thought it was really cool. And they also, I know a lot of people at work were complaining because there was all this talk of chi, and you're like, okay. And then there's this, as you see in the trailers, there's a witch character, and they're like, why didn't she just team up with her? And then they could have just kicked ass all the time. And I was like, I don't know, man. There was a lot of cool flips and kicks and flipping and kicking of spears into people's chests, which I 100% approve of. That was very badass. But, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's pretty to watch, but it's just this is not Mulan. And again, maybe it's just hardcore nostalgia blinding my vision, but I don't know. Apart from, I said, kicking spears into people's chests, there wasn't, to me, Mulan has so many iconic scenes, and this one just didn't have it for me.
Yeah.
Personally. I also found it very odd, because Mulan is, all about this girl who is dishonoring her family by taking her dad's place in the war because she wants to protect him and all this jazz. All empowerment of women, but all, the voiceover dialogue is her dad. So I just found that a very strange choice to make.
Really?
And it was very hard because at some points it was because he was praying to the family altar, which would have been fine, but then there was other times where it sounded like he was telling a story, maybe?
Okay.
And other times not, so I was the voiceover, and again, maybe I'll admit it, maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe I'm just stupid. But, the dialogue just didn't seem to make sense if he was telling this to a story, maybe to his grandkids or something, or what have you. Or it's just weird voiceover. But I felt like a story about Mulan being empowered and being true to herself, bringing honor to her family, and all its voiceovers by her dad.
Yeah.
Just a little weird, but, whatever.
Interesting, yeah.
I will say, though, they did try to have a bigger connection between him and Mulan. Which I appreciated. Not that I didn't think the cartoon movie didn't do a good job, but I know I felt it here too. I was like, okay, that's pretty genuine.
Nice.
The only other thing I gotta say is we got all excited because at the end where she has saved the king and she's walking up to the emperor, there's a woman in front who's like, Fa Mulan. And me and my family were like, oh my god, it's the woman who voiced Mulan in the cartoon! So I think that was the most excited we got, and we were cheering. We're like, yay! We're like, cameo! Woo!
Nice.
We weirdly got excited about it, but it was cool.
Nice.
But like I said, I don't know if it's because of just lack of iconic scenes. I don't know. It's just the same with all these live Disney reboots. They're kind of, but there's some stuff they improve upon, and other stuff it's it's not needed. And it's and again, I think you pointed this out earlier. It's why do we need these anyway? The truth is, we don't.
Right? And you made a good point too. You said they're trying to make it its own thing, and that's cool. If they're just why not try your creative hand at, hey, we had all these really beautifully done classic animated Disney movies. It'd be fun to try and do a live action version. Hell yeah. But then it's hard when you've loved something so much as a kid and there's so much nostalgia and you know it so well. like, it's hard to not get rid of that expectation.
Yeah.
With, like, you know, going into the new one. So it's almost like they need to put, like, a little, like, I don't know, like, behind the scenes kind of thing of, like, them talking about making the new film and showing, like, everybody's excitement and passion to doing it, and, you know, what they feel differentiates it from the original. And then that way it kind of puts you in that mindset so that you have less high expectation going into it. You're kind of seeing what they did and going, okay, so now I can appreciate it for what I've been set up to, you know, expect.
I think my dad kind of had a good point. He's like, the film is okay if it was its own standalone thing, but because there's the animated one, it's hard. Right? Because it's hard not to compare and have it not stack up.
Yeah. Because it's like, I mean, this might be not the right example, but the first thing that popped into my head was, like, Tangled. You know, it's still an animated movie, but it's completely all its own. Like, it's not a reboot of anything, like, that Disney's already made. And, you know, it's partly a tale of Rapunzel that they've kind of, like, twisted around and stuff like that, but it's completely its own, and it did so well. Same with Frozen, right? Like, they're still taking iconic stories. Yeah, they're taking, like, iconic fairy tale stories, but making them their own individual thing in that way. So that's where Disney really, truly thrives. Whereas, like, you know, trying to find the whole balance between nostalgia and, you know, doing something creative with something old that they've done it's hard to, I don't know, it's just hard to find that fine line between the two.
I feel like they know that too. Because, like, again, the ones we just mentioned, like Mulan, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, like, those are all remixes of other stories. You know, already. So that's their bread and butter, basically. Yeah. And maybe, you know what, maybe these live action ones are just them trying to experiment. You know? And
exactly.
Really, they can fucking afford it. They can afford, because if it bombs, it's like, oh well. Like, we have theme parks, Disney Plus, like, we have Marvel, Star Wars. I think we'll do okay. If we lose a couple $1 million, I think we'll be fine.
But I think, like, you can also tell too, like, when, I don't know, it's hard to say, but, like, for me, like, I could tell, as much as, you know, like, I enjoyed the live action version of Beauty and the Beast and the live action version of Cinderella, because to me, I don't know, to me they all looked like they really enjoyed making it and had fun doing it. So that, to me, was shown through watching the film, and I also equally enjoyed watching it, kind of feeling that. Whereas, like, with Lion King, it was hard to kind of get that. Same with Jungle Book, same with, you know, like, I don't know about Mulan, but maybe Mulan's the same way, where it's like, it's more of, we need to do this because we need to set it straight. We need to make it right.
I think, so Disney, basically, for their animated films, just need to remake classics and remix them. For their live action, they just have to focus on their rides. Because let's be real, Pirates, like, that based on a fucking ride. The other one I'm looking forward to, too, is Jungle Cruise, which was supposed to come out last year. I think it's coming out this year now.
That's right, yeah.
That one seems fun.
Yeah, that should be good.
Who knows? That one could take. I don't care. It just seems like a fun time. That's what I'm hoping for. Right?
But again, it's off a ride. There's no real story, so they can do whatever they want. They can go nuts with creativity on that. They don't have to follow any sort of, like, thing that's already been redone or already been set in stone.
It's just something in the sequel department they seem to be lacking, but that's fine. Like I said, they got Marvel, they got Star Wars, they got everything. Right? If they lose a couple million making a film, nothing off their chest, you know?
But then on that part, too, it's like, I want to be able to watch a film that I'm going to leave enjoying. I don't want to watch a film for the sake of watching a film because you're forcing me in a way to watch a film, you know? It's like, oh, well, it's on here, so I might as well watch it. Everybody else is going to be talking about it, so I might as well watch it. I don't want to watch it for that reason. I want to watch it because it looks cool, and I'm interested, and I want to actually, like, you know, enjoy the story.
Right.
I don't want to compare it.
Right? I don't know if this is quite the same, but, like, the analogy that keeps popping in my head while we're talking about this in terms of, like, the formula and, like, wanting to be creative versus, you know, what's going to guarantee you to make money. It always makes me think back to this game theory episode where they were talking about, like, what gamers want. And there's, like, this analogy with pasta sauce. I'll try to condense it as quick as I can. But, like, basically, like, what we think is we're like, oh, like, this is like everybody, like they totally want spicy or they totally want this, when in reality, when you like survey people, everyone just wants bland. Or when people say like, oh, I want black coffee, but when you give them like a test of being, okay, this is black coffee, this is one with like 2 sugars and like 2 creams, like everyone still migrates to like, you know, what is deemed like, oh, normal, and like, oh, I don't want that, ew, I don't want that. But it's like, it's true. No one really knows what they fucking want.
Yeah.
And they show it in like the sales of games, because a big, maybe this will go over people's heads, but like a big thing in gaming is like how they have every year there's always a new NFL game or a new hockey game, and a new soccer game every year. And basically they're like, oh, well, the only reason there's new games is they're just glorifying, just to glorify roster lists, because that's really, I guess, what changes. I mean, like the graphics improve, but a lot of times it's just, you know, whoever's on the current teams and stuff.
Right.
So when you hear people argue about that, they're like, well, these games then shouldn't be successful. But it turns out they still sell very well.
Right.
You know? And so, and then there was like a comparison to Mario games where it's like, okay, well, like Mario, again, is a side scroller, you know. By that logic, people should be bored of this formula. But truth be told, those are still their top selling games of Mario, just with a fresher coat of paint. So the whole idea is that you need to like yes, maybe Nintendo makes a Mario game that's very basic, and it's like, oh, it's not experimental or cool, but it sells, so it kind of pays their bills essentially. But then they can still cram in the odd Mario game that's like out of the box and like really creative. One that comes to my mind is Thousand Year Door. It's fantastic. It's a Mario RPG. It's fantastic. The story is funny, but it didn't sell well. You know, but in the previous years, they'll do another, you know, side-scrolling Mario game where it's like, people are like, oh, I'm bored of this formula, but it still sells.
Really? Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, so the point of the story is that I think sometimes, and again, I don't know if this is maybe necessarily true for movies, but maybe in the sense of like this whole nostalgia, you know, they make it because they're like, oh, this will guarantee us to make money.
Oh, 100%.
No, 100%. But then they can throw in, like, the times when they can be more experimental. And to be fair, this is total bias. I think they're more experimental with their animated films versus their live-action films. But again, like, maybe that's, you know, that's the trade-off, you know?
Yeah.
That you're going to get these remakes where you're like, why are we making them? You know, it's because, like, oh, they're going to guarantee us to make our money. But then it's like, don't worry. Down the pipeline, there's going to be these crazy creative products like fucking Inside Out. Talk about a weird ass movie, but like it does so well. It's made beautifully, you know. So I think there's always going to be that weird balance. Again, I don't know if it's like in the video game industry if it's same as in for making movies, but yeah, that's just what I was thinking about this entire time.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. We should probably talk about this soon too, because we're already it's already happened. But did you watch the finale of WandaVision?
Oh, yes, I did.
What did you think of it?
I don't know. I felt weirdly disconnected.
Yeah?
Which is very bizarre. Like, I don't know. Like, it felt weird. Again, maybe talk about this formula. It's like, I kind of knew. I was like, well, she has to defeat her. Obviously. Really, I think the big thing for me was, like, near the end where, you know, the sword agent was like, they'll never know what you gave up, and she's like, it doesn't matter, they're always going to see me as a monster. So to me, that's where I got more excited. I'm like, oh yeah, here's the kickoff, here we go, yeah. And then potentially having Captain Treble Pants maybe be in Captain Marvel 2, I guess I wasn't quite sure about that Easter egg. I was like, I guess that's happening. Wasn't 100% sure on that one. Yeah, I didn't quite know how to interpret that. I was like, see the guy upstairs? I was like, oh, is it Captain Marvel 2? I don't know.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, it was quite sad watching everybody die. But I
unfortunately fell victim to the spoiler alert, and then had my hopes up and was very much disappointed and kind of left feeling a little lost throughout the whole thing. Cause my dad read an article that, like, literally, it was the day the episode came out on the Friday, he read an article that people were saying that there was going to be this big, like, cameo shocker, like, this big surprise person that was surprise guest that was supposed to show up on the thing. And he's like, and it broke Disney Plus. Like, everybody rushed to watch the episode when it came out, and Disney Plus had to, like crash their servers. And I'm like, oh, man, holy shit. So then, like, a couple days later, we ended up watching it. And yeah, the entire time I'm, like, waiting, because we're like, I bet it's Doctor Strange. It's probably Doctor Strange, because, like, it's supposed to lead into what this is, like, the whole story, right? And yeah, like, nothing happened. So we were like, well, what was everybody talking about? Was that even, like, a real thing? Like, so yeah.
Yeah, I remember hearing that too, and I was like, wait, was there? I was, like, trying to think about it afterwards. I was like,
Right? And I'm like, was it the green alien person from Captain Marvel? That
I guess so. Now thinking about it.
Like, we fast forward through the credits, because I know, like, the last 2 episodes, they've had stuff after the credits. Mm-hmm. And so we, like, fast forward to see, like, oh, is there something here? But yeah, like, nothing.
Oh, well, now we'll have Captain Soldier and Other Soldier and buddy comedy.
To keep us busy until the next one.
Right? We'll see how it goes. 2 dudes fighting. I'm sure it can't be awful, but... Low hopes, basically. Low hopes.
Yeah. Oh, stretch. All right, well, with that is our episode today. We had a bit of a mishmash of things to talk about.
Everyone's brains hurts. It's okay.
Right? But we hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Yes.
If you'd like to share your thoughts and opinions on anything that we've talked about, leave a comment below. And if you enjoy listening to if you enjoy listening to the episodes, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Let us know if there's anything any topics you'd like us to cover.
Tell us we're doing a shitty job. Or tell us we're doing a great job. I mean, obviously we know which one we'd rather prefer, but however it goes.
Just be kind.
I don't know what's wrong with me today.
All right, Cinema Peeps. You guys have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Monkey. And slow. My God. That wasn't me.